I'm not in a rush. It's just a hobby. But I made a list of some things that I need to do first. Again, this is about the engine mainly, but I'm gonna jump around. So I'm just gonna go through my list and then I'm gonna tell you where I'm at. Check compression, check exhaust blockage for exhaust blockage, vacuum leaks, spark plugs, muffler, check the dwell, timing, and choke. First thing on the list is check compression. If the compression is no good, there's no point in going any further. Stop right there. Yeah, I decided to add up the cost to rebuild the transmission. Remember, I've never done it before. I didn't have the right tools. So I got about a video, a trans jack, a clutch spring tool, some parts, a dial indicator, brake cleaner, shop towels, torque. The torque converter cost $347. I don't know if I needed it, but everything with a check mark, I would not have to buy. But I really did it because I wanted to know how to do it. So getting back to the beginning, I asked them if I brought the transmission in, what would they charge me? They said I think it was $1,600 to $1,800. If I took the car in and they just took the transmission out and everything, it was like $3,500. I bet that didn't include the torque converter, which if you take the torque converter price off, it goes way down. So yeah, I bet if I was to do this again, I could do it for like $800. Okay, I want to buy a muffler for this car, but I don't want to spend a lot of money because I don't know what's going to happen in the future of this car. I just want to see what size I got. I mean, that's my starting point. So it's about 6 inches. It's about 6 by 27. It's like 2 inch. On the other end, it has a built-in, I don't know if it's built in or not, but it sure looks like it. I think this was attached to the muffler, to the bumper, I mean. So well, I'm going to be looking for a really cheap muffler. Let's go look towards the front. When I shoot videos, I don't always show things that are clear because it takes time, but here's that. We'll go up on top in a second, but here's that line, like it's broken off. In fact, I'm gonna just get rid of it. It went up to the carburetor. This is that heat exchanger thing that I don't know anything about. Also, when I was here looking, I noticed, you see right here, in beyond, that's a flap. I think that's to let cold air in. I wonder if that should be open like that. And the other side, looking up through there, that's open too. In my last video, I don't know if I explained it good enough because I don't always take the time. But first problem I had, I don't know if it was last video or I don't remember. This shift linkage I took the pan off and I took the valve body out, was not in the slot where this would lock in. So I replaced that. I mean, I took it apart, got it on the slot, tightened it back up. But then I realized that so this is the shift and this is the downshift. That downshift somehow I did not have lined up. So you see why it's moving right now? It was locked up. Which meant restricted the gas pedal from going a certain amount. Because when you push the gas pedal down, at a certain point, it pulls the kickback or the downshift, however you want to call it. Now, just looking at this, anybody that's curious, We know, if you watch my video, this is one of the band adjustments. Thought my pump wasn't working, but right here is a port that you can hook up a pressure gauge to see what kind of pressure you have, basically to tell you if your pump is working or not. But in my case, it just, who knows. But now that like I said, I took this apart 3 times. I took it apart to hook it up. I got this fixed. You lower the valve body. If you go to where I explain how to put the valve body in. Anyway, when I fixed the shifter, I screwed this up. Took this off. Let's see, how did it work? There was a really tight bend right up in there. I didn't bother doing bending. You can do it however you want. But this is what I got. So again, this is the back of the transmission. So that's when the fluid is leaving the transmission. The front one is when the fluid is coming into the transmission. So I got the filter. If I didn't explain this, I got the filter when it's coming back in after it's coming out of the transmission, out of the radiator. Where I figured it would be the coolest. I mean, I don't know what's inside there. Paper, metal, I don't know. But if it's paper, I sure don't want it heating up too much. Then I put this compression fitting here. No leaks. So, first thing today, I gotta hook the linkage back up. So that's the shift linkage, and then I gotta hook up the downshift linkage. It's right here. Okay. And then I didn't tighten this. I was just freaking tired. So I gotta tighten this down. I'm gonna clean it, put lock thread on it, Loctite. Put the C-clip, put this back together with the cotter pin and the 2 washers. I'm just looking around what we get down here. Look at this. What is that? That might be a block heater. There's a wire coming off of it. I wonder if there's one on the other side. The mysteries of old cars. Let's see, I was saying that the fuel pump was disconnected while we're here. Here's the fuel pump, the mechanical fuel pump that works in the engine. It's plugged. And it's plugged up on top. I think I showed that in the last video. So it looks like they just took this line. Here's the line going to the fuel tank. It used to go to here. They bypassed it and went straight up. And somebody added electrical. This is how they got wire to the pump. It goes into the trunk. And then somebody added air shocks. I don't think it came stock with air shocks. So I'm just going to clean that off a little bit. And so I can get some Loctite on there. C-clip back on. I put Loctite on here. I think the reason I use Loctite, I thought I might have stripped these threads a little, just barely. So now we know that's in part. Put this. Okay, I got that back on. another thing. I got all the leaks cleaned up. So if anything leaks, I'm gonna know about it. Yeah, just to follow up, because it wasn't clear. This is where that tube was that was going down to the exhaust manifold. I think it's just heat. So look at this freaking wire just sitting on the exhaust manifold. Well, I guess I gotta undo that bolt, because at least get it to hold it up for now. Yeah, this loose wire is bugging me. So at least temporarily, I'm gonna use one of these zip tie things, or whatever they call that I bought. Insulation behind it. Turn it a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Handy little things. This is cylinder number 5. Okay, I did 8 revolutions. It's about 130. Number 6. It's about 160. We're gonna do it again. 8 revolutions. Call it 155, call it 157. Cylinder number 7. $150. Do it again. $150. Cylinder number 8. $114 about. Do it again. $110, $114, we'll call it $112. $112 on cylinder 8. Cylinder 4. Try it again. You see why it's dropping like that? I think it's got a bad valve or something. So what was it? I forgot what it was. Let me go do it again. I think it was 120. It would be 130 if it could hold. Okay, number 3. See it leaking off? It was at 140 at the high point. Eight more times. $140, we'll just call it. Okay, number 2. That's just the way it's threaded in. I can't help that. There's something wrong on this side, like a bad head gasket or something. Because they're all leaking off. Let's do it one more time. About 135 it reached. Number 1. That one's leaking off too, but it did reach 120. Do it one more time. $120, leak off. Okay, here's what we got. So right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 120, 135, 140, 130. All these leaked. 130, 157, 150, 112. So for the heck of it, I'm gonna put some oil in number 112 and see if the compression comes up. I'm gonna put some oil in the easiest one to get in and see what happens. Let's just start on this side because I'm on the side. I'm just gonna squirt a little bit of oil, and well, I know it's not gonna fix it because it's leaking off like the since all 5 are leaking, it's either a crack or a crack in the head or the block, or it's head gasket. That's my guess. Okay, I'm just gonna use regular oil, but this thing's low. Just using whatever I have, 1030. We'll just make sure it squirts so I know when I'm squeezing the trigger, it's going in the cylinder. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna do like 4 shots. What the heck? Okay, I'm gonna do 4 shots, and number 4, remember I marked them on the top just so I'm old. So I'm gonna stick it right in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. If the rings are bad, then the compression should come up higher. Let me go see what it was. That was number what? Number 4. Number 4 was 130. Up to 155. And it's holding. That's weird. Anyway, the rings are, what I say, 140, went up to 150, went up 10. Let's just do one more cylinder. Okay, I'm gonna squirt some oil in number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just drop my gauge. There we go. Finally, I think it was 130. We'll look at it later. Wow. 170. 175. And holding. What a trip. See, I'm going to squirt some oil in number 8. Three squirts. Let me try it. 4. We'll make sure this thing will squirt upside down. So we might not have got a full 4 in there. See if I get a better angle. I know we got 1 in there, so 2, 3, 4, that's better. I got 4 in there now. Okay, cylinder number 8, I put 4 squirts of oil. I got that magnet there to keep this gauge from sliding off. $165. Okay, now I know this is crude here, but I didn't feel like making another drawing. So we'll just do it one at a time. 120, number 1 is 120, it leaks off. Number 2 is 135, it leaked off. Number 3 was 140, it leaked off. Put oil, it held at 175. Number 4 was 130, it leaked off. With oil, it went up to 150. Number 5 was 130, number 6 was 157, number 7 was 150, number 8 was 112. Put oil in number 8, it went up to 165. We got a worn out engine here. So this is the reason, in my opinion, not to go too far until you figure out what's going on. I mean, there's a whole bunch of problems, and the best thing to do is just yank out the engine. The main thing with me with doing this is it just creates another mess. I mean, I don't have parts everywhere, so before I start, I gotta clean up everything again, make plenty of room. I'm curious to see what's underneath the carburetor too. Is it a stock intake manifold? What is going on with this engine? So I might pull the heads off, pull the intake pull the carburetor, pull the intake manifold, pull the distributor, pull the heads, pull the exhaust manifolds, and then pull the block out. Sometimes it's better just to get rid of this whole front end, just get it out of your way. But I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm not discouraged because this is just a hobby. I want something to do. It doesn't matter how fast I do it. Anyway, if this is your first time you're tuning in to me, I'm just doing this for fun. People can watch if they're interested. I'm 69. I'm retired. I just need something to do. I could have bought a car I could have bought a car completely done. It doesn't interest me. I'm not really into just driving around in circles or to car shows. I can't machine the block myself. That is definitely going to have to be taken in. I'm not even going to mess with it. But the more I take apart, the cheaper it is. So I'll probably pull the block out, get the pistons out, get the rings out, get everything, get it all completely torn apart. The heads, they could do that. That's pretty simple. Okay, well, I just did a compression test. I'm not sure if I'm going to put this at the beginning or the end, but I'll give you a hint. Either way, the engine's got to come out. If you watch the video, or if you did watch the video, again, I don't know where I'm going to put this. The compression is not good. So I got a lot of different directions I could go. I could put a 302 in here. I could rebuild the same engine. I don't care about numbers matching. I could go fuel injection, or I can go cheap. I just haven't decided what I want to do. I think I need to, this is what I'm thinking right now. Pull the carburetor off, pull the intake manifold off, pull the heads off. Well, let's pull the valve covers off. Let's pull the valve covers off first and let's see what we see. But again, I'm not going to do that until I clean up. I made another mess as usual. But I'm glad that I didn't start throwing money at it, you know. New spark plugs, new carburetor, because it never would have run right. The other thing I want to say about carburetors, I was thinking about this last night. Even if I got a brand new carburetor or rebuilt that carburetor, let's say the engine was good, I'm never going to know, like a modern car, if the fuel ratio is right. Yeah, so when I put this back together, I can go fuel injection or carburation. Again, I don't want to spend a ton of money on this, but I don't have any desire to sell it. It's just a hobby. It's something to keep me busy. It's got hydraulics. It's got mechanical. It's got body work. That's what I want to do. When I rebuild it, I want to put some O2 sensors on here, on both sides. If I go carburetor, that way when I tune it, I can see what's going on. If not, I'm just guessing, you know, reading the spark plugs that they used to do in the old days. I probably will go carburetor, but with the O2 thing's welded to the manifold. Two of them. And I'll probably mount them right here for now, until I get it running right. So that's where I'm at. It's 3 o'clock Monday. I'm not ready to pull anything off right at this minute. I need to clean up everything and make room to put everything and keep it in order. And I'm going to take a bunch of pictures, especially of you know, how the power steering is mounted, how the fan is, where the radiator is, where the generator is, which I might switch later, but one step at a time. I'm not really sure. All I know is I got to pull the engine. What I want to do and how I want to do it, I'm not sure. And this old list for the transmission, it's done. The only thing I didn't check was the brakes. But I'll tell you, man, this pedal feels really good. It's like somebody has just rebuilt the brakes. So this is done. Yeah, while I'm cleaning up, I decided to put one more of these in. Either way, I don't like these loose wires. So I drilled another 1/4-inch hole. Just that little bit cleans it up, and it makes for less of a mess for me. So as usual, before I do anything, I gotta clean up. I mean, it doesn't look like much, but I got stuff all over the place again. So I'm gonna do that before I stop for the day. Oh yeah, I wanted to say one more thing. I looked for the cheapest battery I could find. this battery works great. You can hear it cranking over. It's got 600 cold cranking amps. This came from Walmart. It was like, I forget what it was, 50, 60, 70 bucks. It's the right size. It's good enough. I mean, with these old cars, you don't have a lot of electronics. There's no air conditioning. It's all really basic. You don't need that much cranking amps. So I highly suggest, if you got a hobby car, buy a cheap battery. Walmart. Yeah, I thought I'd throw this in the middle. I don't know who watches these videos, but if you decide to do a compression test, get one that has like this. I mean, this has got an adapter on it, but the point being, it's got an air fitting. When you trying to get into some of these tight spaces with a long line like I was showing in the video, it's a bitch. You want this as short as you can get it. Unless you got like overhead cam newer engines. But as short as you can get it and flexible. Again, this is a leak down test. This will do a compression test also. But the point is, you want to get a short piece that you can then you can snap into your tester. Yeah, this is like the end of the video. I decided to put the spark plugs back in and fire it back up again before I take it apart because I had drained the transmission. I want to pump the transmission full of fluid so I don't forget in the future. And that's it. So it won't be much work. I think I'm going to put my spark plugs in the sandblaster and clean them. Okay, I cleaned all the plugs up with the sandblaster. It came out really good. So I'm going to set the gap. I'll just set it somewhere between 32 and 36. What I did forget to do, I got the plugs back in except for number one. I forgot to mark the wires. So I'm going to have to reach in there and fill the compression. Right there. Let's see here. It's either this one or this one's number one. That one's going over there, so it must be this one. And no, they don't have them in order. So then I put this up. I'm gonna hook it up that way and we'll see what happens. Okay, this is curious. One 15426 Well, I think this is number one. And this should be number 5, but they had it running over there. 1, 5, 4. Let's see, 1, 5, 4. 2 should be over there. I better go inside the car. Sounds okay. That way I can put it in gear. The wheels will... just thinking here, maybe I'll do this tomorrow because I'm out of time. Either I got the plugs on wrong or I'm not getting any fuel. Backfiring. I got the timing off. I'm gonna have to do that tomorrow. I must have been off on the compression, or I spun past it once. Tomorrow. I'm out of time. I ended the battery. Tomorrow, I think what I'll do is I'll pull number 1 plug out. I'll feel for compression. Then try to find the timing mark down here, which that must be it right there. And see if they line up. I mean, the plug, it was firing and I changed the plugs, but I don't know what happened. I'm getting in my car. I can't get this camera out any further. I just left inside. The good news is the engine's not frozen. That's good.